you that the chair now recognizes the gentleman from West Virginia, Mr. McKinley, for 5 minutes.
Uh, thank you, Chairman. And as a good friend, it's always good to see you. I thought the premise of this hearing was going to be about the decarbonization, accelerating the decarbonization in the United States. And I've been functioning for years now on the fact that climate change is a global issue and requires a global solution. So we've heard from previous panels, including Gina McCarthy, when they said that if America alone decarbonizes, the impact on the global environment would be virtually immeasurable. And they went on to say that if, as long as countries like China and India are expanding their dependence on fossil fuels, America would still experience wildfires on the West Coast, droughts and floods in the Midwest, and hurricanes on the East. So I guess the issue is, can America decarbonize? Absolutely. I would agree. It can. But what's the cost to families, communities, and businesses that are reliant on fossil fuels? This report that everyone's referring to was silent about Hazard, Kentucky, Gillette, Wyoming, Cadiz, Ohio. There are no transitional employment opportunities in those areas. So to Rich Powell, let me ask you a couple questions with you. First, I say, Rich, I agree with your testimony where you said serious federal policy proposals must also reflect the global nature of the challenge. Let me ask, Rich, have you read the National Academy report?
I have.
Okay. Do you think that maybe there was, given that there were no representatives who were not academics among the authors, and based on their tweets and papers that they've published, do you believe that the authors may have had a bias against fossil fuels?
It certainly seemed like an objective was to think first about decarbonization and maybe secondarily about the transition impacts.
Okay. Would you agree that one of the authors who tweeted out that, and his quote was in his tweet, showing who these are the people that put this, that America can eradicate poverty by decarbonization? Do you agree with that?
I don't think it's the first way we would eradicate poverty.
But that was their statement, that decarbonization is going to eradicate poverty. And then also part of the study was, quote, that was to build an energy system without social injustices that permeate the current system. Do you think it does permeate the current system?
I don't. I believe that there.
Let me get back on point, Rich, on it, because I've got some more questions I'd like to get with you. So back on point with the policies outlined in this study, because it was very comprehensive and very thoughtfully put together from white papers that they published. But will it encourage other nations like China and India to actually follow our lead and reduce their emissions?
It focuses on U.S. emissions reductions. The
Yes.
One piece that might have a global impact is the R&D section, and that could reduce the cost of global emissions. But beyond that, it's largely silent on the global question.
Now, since the anti-fossil fuel zealots that we deal with in Washington are agitating for America to choose this simplistic route, in other words, discontinue fossil fuels. That's one way to do it. You can. That is a fork in the road. You can take that and we can not use fossil fuels. But wouldn't America be better off, better advised if they adopted a more pragmatic approach to capturing carbon through advanced innovation and deployment?
We should be focusing on reducing emissions, not eliminating fossil fuels.
Thank you. So wouldn't that approach protect the economy, reduce carbon emissions, and develop a technology that we can export around the world for other nations that are offensive in their emissions? Wouldn't that be the better approach rather than just doing away with fossil fuels?
Prioritizing carbon capture so that we can make the breakthroughs that the rest of the world can then use to decarbonize should really be at the top of the list of our energy innovation priorities.
So, Rich, would you concur that the global environment will not improve measurably if America alone decarbonizes?
I would.
Okay. Is there what policies is in the remaining few seconds here? What else would you be saying for us that we should be adapting?
Well, I think if you look back at the Energy Act of 2020, the technology that received the most bipartisan support in that very bipartisan bill was carbon capture. That bill now calls for a massive demonstration program for carbon capture technologies, but a lot of work remains to actually implement that. And so I would encourage this committee and all of Congress to focus now on implementation.
Thank you very much. I yield back my balance of my time.
Yes, sir.